Welcome to M24Kast, the pulse of today's women, where voices are heard, stories are shared, and empowerment is the journey. We dive deep into the realms of leadership, innovation, and community, shining a light on the women shaping our tomorrow. Brought to you by JCI Makahalar 24K. Each episode is a salad of insights, experiences, and inspiration drawn from the heart of the Philippines to the global stage. Here, every story matters, every voice can make a difference, and every woman is a beacon of change. Join us as we explore the narratives that unite us, challenge us, and propel us forward. Together, we're crafting a legacy of strength, breaking barriers, and building bridges. This is M24Kast, empowering voices, inspiring change. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of M24Kast. Today, we're going to be talking to an amazing filmmaker all the way from Cagayan De Oro. Her name is LJ Flores. She's a dedicated and dynamic film and TV script supervisor with a heartfelt passion for storytelling and the world of cinema. LJ found her calling in the entertainment industry after completing her education in mass communication from Lourdes College and a certificate course of film and TV from HNLSOON College. Her career took off quickly, earning her roles as a script supervisor on various TV shows and films, showcasing her ability to ensure continuity and coherence in storytelling. She has enriched her expertise through workshops, including the GLIAM Script Supervisor Workshop and the New York Film Academy Basic Directing Workshop, and has been mentored by Kim Berner in the art of script supervising. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome LJ Flores. Welcome, LJ! Thank you so much for taking the time to being with us today.
Hello.
So first and foremost, let's start from the very beginning. What inspired you to pursue a career in filmmaking, and how did your journey begin?
It started when I was 10 years old. I vividly remember. I liked photography when I was 10. And one of the biggest influence is my dad. My dad works in EBS kasi before. I think growing up, I look up to my dad so much. So I think that's one of the biggest influence with my career right now.
Wow, that's great. At least your dad basically honed you, gave you a couple of like skills to start you off, and then the rest is basically yours na, diba? It's all your effort. So yeah, can you please share the story behind your first big break in the entertainment industry?
My first big break is one of my first project in Hollywood, which is Almost Paradise. I never thought na I'll get that project because there's a lot of script supervisor, like very good script supervisor here in the Philippines. But I think one of the reason why I got that project because of recommendations, and I never expected na it land lang sa lap na ako. So yeah.
That's amazing. So you got stellar recommendations, and it just really means that you're doing such a good job, you know, even at the littlest projects you did. Because I guess that's where it starts, diba? The littlest roles, and then mag-compound siya until like we get our bigger roles, and then we get referred to bigger project. Let's get into your daily life. Describe a day in the life of a script supervisor. So what does your role entail, and why is it crucial for production?
That's very interesting question because a lot of people, like in the audience side, didn't know how the script supervisor works. So they always like see the director, the assistant director, the producer, the artist, or the production designer, but people outside, they can talk about being a script supervisor. Basically, being a script supervisor is the right hand of the director. You both think creatively and logically. So you're basically the right brain and the left brain of the director. So since the director focuses on the creative side, on how the film goes, my job is to make sure the technical side is on point, like the camera stuff, the eyeline of the actor, how the camera works. And the other thing is, I'm also responsible with the emotions, like the continuity of the emotions. You know, in film kasi, we never shot that chrono. So you need to be like on top of everything, like the emotions, the wardrobe. So the funny thing is, I'm one of the department heads. So all the department head comes to me, like talk to me on set, like the makeup team, the production design team, the stunt team, But I'm always do communicating with my directors and assistant director. So in Hollywood, they call us the ninja on set. So that means na sumusulpot lang every now and then. That also mean na the fault finder on set. Whether you're gonna be the enemy of everybody or you're gonna be friends with everybody. I mean, just sometimes, because most of the actors are really good naman. So sometimes the actors misses one line or they ad-lib. So you need to remind that. So some actors was like, thank you for reminding me of that line, because we need to be on point, we need to be on top of everything. Sample, I had this situation with this cinematographer. So this cinematographer usually lights a scene, right? That's their job. One scenario was that cinematographer put that lamp on the back of the actor. So that means that lamp light was a reflection of this back of the actor. After nun, we shot the scene like wide shot. So nakikita yung lamp, diba? So the next scene, the setman and the DOP forgot to put the lamp sa back ng actor. So I need to call that. In this kind of shot, nawala yung warm light. So I need to talk to the director. So some cinematographer, you also need to communicate well so that the continuity and the emotions or the treatment of the directors are on point.
Yeah, and consistent as well. In a nutshell, in a very, very bad example, yet your job is to make sure that in the set of Game of Thrones, there's no Starbucks cup
Yeah, yes,
that's gonna be
yes,
seen.
yes. Yeah, it's like that. But the thing is, you're the head of the continuity and like with all the stuff that the director, needed. But it's also a job of the production design team. So they also need to be on top on that.
Working on big projects like K-Love and Almost Paradise, what unique challenges did you face and how did you tackle them? And how did being a
Well,
girl, being a woman, help you out in tackling them?
that's a very interesting question because it's hard to be one woman in the industry, like the male dominant industry, right? I remember a project I was shooting in Cebu. That's season 2 of Almost Paradise. It's an Amazon project. I have 5 male on set. I'm only one flower. And the thing is, I'm so young on that team. I'm working with Dean Devlin, the producer of Godzilla. I think Dean is like his 60s, I think. And the assistant director was Serbian in his 50s. The actors, 2 actors are puro male. So everything is like dominant talaga. Here's a trivia. So the Serbian director asked us, why are in the Philippines daw, all of the assistant directors are girls? Because in Hollywood and in Serbia, all assistant directors are male. And
Interesting.
yeah, that's very interesting. And most of the assistant director that they work is, they have the military background. It's so weird, right?
Why?
I don't know. That's a thing in Hollywood and even in Serbia. I think because they find male to be like a commander. Most of the assistant director in the industry, especially in Hollywood, they need a commander to run a set, especially if you're shooting an action. But the thing is, they don't have the choice when they shot here in the Philippines because all women are, very excellent in terms with running and set. They were joking na in Tagalog sinabi nila, think ba dito na lahat ba ng assistant director ay panda? It was funny kasi sabi namin, oo nga, no? But these women are really powerful in running a set. So to go back to your question, it's hard, but it's also empowering to be a woman on set, especially if your bosses and your directors are men, because it's like you're given the platform to run, to be like excellent at what you do. If sinasabi nilang hindi kaya ng babae. Hindi, kaya ng babae. Kaya ng babae mag-shoot ng action film. Kaya ng babae na tumapos ng isang buong eksena the whole day. Speaking of strength, speaking of knowledge, speaking of being excellent on set, diba?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Now, what's great about what you said is actually like, yes, you're an assistant director, but you're being treated like an equal in terms of where your output is actually like listened to and respected and honored, diba?
Yeah. For me naman, it's hard getting there because there's a lot of, challenges. I've been in the industry for 10 years and I've been doing script supervising for the past 8 to 9 years, I think. It's hard because, especially that we're provinciana. I'm provinciana. I'm from Cagayan de Oro. It's so hard to be in a fast-paced culture. You know that. Even you're also from Cagayan de Oro, and you know how it's hard in this kind of industry. But it's also fulfilling that people are recognizing your effort. Not just you're a woman on set, but also how women are very excellent given that kind of heavy job.
I've seen your IMDb. I've personally been a witness to your growth in the field that you're in. So I hate asking this question, but I just gotta ask. Out of all the projects that you've worked on, which one holds a special place in your heart and why?
That's a very hard question. I think working with Caleb, it was my first time working during the pandemic. Pre-pandemic pa yung last project ko. And after that, I jumped into a lock-in, 6 weeks lock-in in View. So that's why one of the memorable and then heartfelt, I can say it's a heartfelt project for me because it's like I learned to be more human in onset because I worked with Ate Iza Calzado, I worked with Sue Ramirez, I worked with Gabby Padilla, I worked with Jake Cuencaos that time. So it's like a reunion. That time kasi parang it's so hard to be locked in onset. That time also was like it's very challenging time because my lola died during the pandemic, so I can't go home. So I was working. It was election also, so it was really hard for everybody. I think one of the reason why it was a heartfelt project for me because it helps me also to be more human, like to love more people. In the industry kasi parang when you jump into a project, it's like a no string attached. It's like, okay, hi, hello. After this, I'm done. Diba? But
Right.
that project kasi opens me to be more human I mean, after the shoot, we always have dinner plans, like even in the house lang, kasi we're locked in the same, like a big mansion. One of the memorable experience in that project was like we played We're Not Really Stranger card. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
We have that at the
So
cafe.
yes, it's so heartfelt na when binibunot the card. Parang it's more on like the deeper side of the relationship. It's not just, they're artistas or they are staff or they're a crew. Parang you also get to know them on a deeper level. Na, okay, that's why this person is very lovable because of this and that, or this person is like, it's more on, the character. When I go home nga after that project, parang I was like praying to God na, Lord, parang akala ko that project is I'm the one who's gonna impact people there. Ako pala, these people touch my life pala more. They're
So you
my
thought you were going to be the enrichment, but you were the one
yes,
enriched.
yes, yes,
Yeah, that's lovely. I mean, I
yes.
could just imagine the
And
bond that you guys
it's
have.
just
Kasi you're in one house, 'di ba? It's like
yes. And
nag-live-in
it's bad.
kayo. Hindi
6 weeks.
lock-in taping yun. Live-in taping yun. So I can
Yeah.
just imagine all the learnings that you got from them and all the learnings that they got from you, which is I think really
Mhm.
really beautiful. Because you were talking about Iza earlier, Iza Calzado, and how you learned so much from her. How was your mentor Kim Berner been able to influence your approach to script supervising?
Well, Kim Berner is one of the blessing talaga in my life. So I was introduced with our producer Dean Devlin to her. Imagine she fly to the Philippines just to train me like on one. I remember I was so scared meeting her because she's the Kim Berner. I mean, speaking of, she's the script supervisor of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. She's one of the queen in Hollywood in terms with script supervisor. She's 60 years old, by the way. She's still working as a script supervisor, right? I remember meeting her. I was so scared. When I met her, the producer introduced us, and she was like extending her hand. I'm Kim, pleased to meet you. And then after that, we were talking about stuff. I was so fascinated with how she works in Hollywood, in how she works personally. I never felt that, she's top script supervisor in Hollywood. I feel like I have a mom beside me during the mentor training with her. One of the questions that she asked me, what's a system in Hollywood that she can apply to the Philippines? Because the system in Hollywood is so different from here because we don't have that enough system to be on their system. So she really she really trained me and Tofi, my other script supervisor friend. One of the helpful paperworks, helpful respectful approach to the actors, or but parang it's like how to be that good communicator on set, or like how to be like the power team script supervisor on set. That time when I finished the training with her, I learned to be more resilient. I learned my worth as a script supervisor. It's like what value that you bring to the table.
So you learned your value and began bringing it, that thing that sets you apart, that makes you special, that makes you human. You learned to bring it to work.
Yes.
And it just,
Not just like, not just the value, but also your own system as
yeah,
a script.
correct. It's beautiful that you have this special bond with your mentor to the point na parang naging nanay mo na siya. Leading up to our next topic naman, the film industry is constantly evolving. Like,
Mhm.
how do you keep your skills sharp and stay ahead in such a very dynamic field?
I think that's one of many script supervisors struggle nowadays, especially that you're doing that job for a very long time now. I always enroll online. I always like, find ways to improve my work. It's like yesterday, I was sitting in this table. I was like, I'm watching YouTube. I was searching how they put like the blood, the continuity of the blood. So like how they, parang do the magic. So efficiently. Kasi one of the problem here in the Philippines kasi because we don't have system. One of the challenges that I face for the past project, the Filipino project that I did here, they always have a problem with how the wardrobe approval. The director hates approval on set. During the pandemic, I enrolled to New York Film Academy directing workshop. My direction naman is script supervising, di ba? But I enrolled to that directing program because I want to understand the job of the director, and I want to understand more about the relationship. I mean, I want to understand this department head, I want to understand this department and everything, not just as script supervising, but also the whole production.
Yeah, so basically, the way you stay ahead and stay sharp is learning the other
Mhm.
person's job so that you can better help them. Ganun
Yeah.
ba yun? Yeah, I feel like we have the same journey. I went through the
Mhm.
same journey as you are, in a way that because I wanted to become a dubbing director, or I wanted to get to that level, I learned how to write first. Like
Yeah.
after I learned acting, I learned how to write so that I know how the writers like think when it comes to like directing the talent na. Kasi 'di ba when a script is given to you, it's just a bunch of texts, right?
Yeah.
You have to learn what the other person does so that it's easier for you to do it on a bigger scale or on your scale.
Yeah, and I mean, my end goal is I want to be a producer. So
Mm-hmm.
I wanna understand
I feel like
everything.
that's a bloodier job, but you'll be really good at it. It's a
Thank you.
much bloodier job. So, with your expertise in script supervision, what advice would you give to someone aspiring to enter this line of work? Do you even want people to take this line of work? Because, like, it looks like it's a lot. But I know,
and
I mean, you're
and it's
kicking it,
scary.
but it's a lot.
Well, one simple advice is don't be afraid. You're gonna face a lot of mistakes. I mean, on set. Kasi in my young age, I always like tend to be frustrated. So parang I tend to not let go of that kind of feeling. So I like blame myself. I mean, for me, just don't be afraid to jump on that dream because that dream could possibly open a lot of doors. I mean, proven and tested. For me, I call it a blessing. Eh. Parang there's a lot of good script supervisor here in the Philippines. But, when God gave you that platform, do it. Because,
Yeah.
God's gonna flourish that. God's gonna, bless the works of your hand. Never, ever in my wildest dream to handle a Hollywood project, to work with the Marvel exec. I recently finished pala the one I told you na I was in Korea for a month. I was working with the assistant director of Crash Landing on You. One of the team, the makers of Okja and the makers of the KR unit of Black Panther. It's not an accident. When God gave you that kind of platform or you have the desire to be a script supervisor on set, it's scary, it's also empowering. Especially that you're a woman. It's very rare naman to see a script supervisor na lalaki. Kasi most of the script supervisor that you're going to work on set are women. So it's just a matter of being that, tough
Yeah, and
Tough person
meticulous
on
and
set.
very
Yes.
particular, and all and everything that a woman could put in there that men just
Yeah.
cannot. So, I want to know, and I want our listeners to know the other things that you're interested about aside from film, and how did these interests help your line of work?
Wala akong ibang ginagawa. Well, aside from cooking, cooking kasi it's more on how I debrief myself. From a very, very challenging day on set, I always go home to cook. Always cook, always cook. So that it can reset my whole being as a script supervisor or as a filmmaker on set. So in cooking kasi there's no utos eh. You
Yeah,
do what you do. I also love, making food for people around me. I think that's my one of the love language that I give to people na I'm not words kasi. I'm not my words. So I always I always approach people na, do you wanna try my adobo or you wanna try my, kinilaw? So,
I do
it's
remember
bringing
that you
yeah,
had that
yeah,
you
yeah, it's
were
bringing
featured in a commercial for that.
yeah, it's bringing the culture also to people. I can't say that I'm a people person. I would really say na I love cooking for people because it connects me to them.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Diba? Parang
Perfect.
it connects me to people. It's not really that, a glamour thing. But just
Yeah.
cooking food for, a person or your friends. Parang you don't need to say anything. Just,
Yeah.
food.
As the old adage says, the best
Yeah.
way to a person's heart is through their stomach.
Yeah,
'Di
it's food.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I love that. So, looking forward, are there any upcoming projects or personal goals that you're particularly excited about that you can share to us? Because I don't want to be breaking any NDAs, girl.
I'm currently working on an Argentinian movie with Creations
Mm.
production, Creation Studios, and they're basically the A24 of Asia. So they're connected with I don't know if you know A24.
Of course, I
They're
know A24.
they're the big, it's the big prod in
Yeah.
LA. So I'm working with the Creation Studios. And I think I have an upcoming period series or a film that my producer, asked me if I'm game to do that. So
Wow.
I
Is it
think that's
Filipino
one of the
period?
things that I'm preparing. So I think so.
Ay,
So
Filipino
yun na muna.
period. Very
Yun na muna. Yun na
interesting.
muna. It's a
Oh,
Filipino period, and if ever na ma-push through siya. So it, it's my first time to shoot a period film. So I think right now after I finish this project, kasi I'm finishing the project na lang the Argentinian adaptation. So after that, I might jump into more like read books, study the characters to be more accurate.
yeah. Anything
So
that's a period drama or a period piece, it always has to be like
mhm.
on point with the history, with the time that it's in, because you want it to be believable, right? You don't want it to be invento. You don't want it to be fake news. My last question for you is that what is your wildest, biggest dream of a production that you'd want to do yourself? Think the biggest.
I don't know. I don't know what kind of feeling that, na ma-describe ko siya. I think, alam mo yan, kasi
Yeah.
you've been there recently. So, I think one of the wildest dream talaga is to be working with all American people on a Hollywood set.
Mm,
And, I've been talking to people already. I have a connection in New York, I have a connection in LA. So, I've been talking to a lot of people if, I can jump on their set or I can, apply for apprenticeship. Kasi parang start from scratch pa rin siya eh. If
yeah.
you're going to work there or to have a project there. And to work with equally life-giving stories to tell. Kasi for me, stories matters. Kasi it will also reflect my values. So
Truthfully. Nice, nice. Thank you so much for your candor, your how would I say this? You're being careful with the NDAs, but still super being open to like discussing things. I really, really know the
The
struggle,
feeling,
the feeling. Yeah, thank you so
the
much for
thrill.
effectively communicating
Thank you.
what
You're
you're
welcome.
thinking and what you're going through kasi ang hirap nun sabihin, 'di ba, without spoiling everything. So,
Mhm.
how can people follow you and your journey in the industry? So,
They can follow me on Instagram. I only have one page. I have IMDb, which is the link that I sent it to you. You can search me LJ Flores and IMDb, and you can also follow me on Instagram LJ_Flores. I post a lot of behind the scene. I have TikTok pala, sorry. I have a TikTok at LJ_Flores08. Yeah.
nice.
Because
Okay, so that
I post behind the scene after the project, the making of my projects.
nice. I'm gonna give you a follow later if I still haven't. Thank you so much for your time,
Thank
LJ.
you.
And I hope to see more of your work in the future. I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be so, so nice
Hopefully.
and so, so exciting. Woo!